Yeah, we can do a different one.
Let's just do a different one.
Okay. That's fine. Nathan, the Shabbat, the older one, will that work? Will that work with no camera? Will that Shalom Rav work? No? Okay, which one should we do? Okay. We're doing that.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
And Nathan, do the hash
Friend, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. I had a little bit of a panic. I didn't have the yurtzeit list. So I have the yurtzeit list, but it's missing one person. And it's not making me happy. Okay. So we are going to begin our services this evening with L'Chadodi. We turn to page 2 for L'Chadodi.
Likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat.
us turn to page 7 as we continue with lighting the Shabbat lights. Carol, why don't you come up and light them? I like surprising people. I like surprising myself. I like surprising the Blisses.
Come, let us welcome Shabbat. May its radiance warm our hearts as we kindle these tapers.
Light is the symbol of God's presence in our lives. The eternal one is our light and our salvation.
Light is a symbol of the holiness within each of us. The human spirit is a light of God.
Light is the symbol of the Torah's teachings. The commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is a light.
Light is a symbol of Israel's mission, as it is written, I've made you a covenant people to serve as a light to the nations.
Therefore, in the spirit of our ancient tradition, that hallows and unites Israel and all lands of all ages, we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Boy Scout trip. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kibashanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'hakolim shel Shabbat. We praise our eternal God, creator of the universe, who hallows our lives through laws and ethical teachings. We are mindful of these timeless values as we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen.
No one has told me how beautiful our cheesy menorah is.
It's very festive.
What'd you say?
No.
Did he say something that's going to make me crazy?
It might.
Okay, I don't want to hear it.
I brought a menorah that I'm donating that I got from the Chabad house, so you could use that one. It's out of glass.
Okay. It's made out of what?
No, it's like thin metal.
Okay. Oh, God. Did you see it? It's pretty, it's not a work of art. It's very cheesy,
It's festive.
but it's fun.
It's not cheap.
It is fun. It is fun. But I should have gotten one that's bigger. I'm upset with myself. It should have been bigger. When I bought one from another congregation years ago, it was bigger. I just don't have a sense of size. Okay, so we are going to continue on page 59 as we rise for the Baruch Hu. Let us be seated. Let me begin on the top of page 60. O God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You are as close to us as breathing and yet are farther than the most distant star. You are as mysterious as the vast solitudes of the night, and yet are as familiar to us as the light of the sun. Even to Moses you said, "You cannot see my countenance, but I will make all of my goodness pass before you." Thus does your goodness pass before us in the realm of nature and in varied experiences of our lives. Let's join together on the top of page 61. When justice burns like a flaming fire within us, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion we proclaim our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, we are truly doing your will. You live in our hearts even as you pervade our world. Through righteous action, we offer living testimony to your presence. Let's continue with Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael.
On page 62 and continuing to page 64, we continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam Vaed. You shall love the eternal God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be upon your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol before your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. You may remember to all of my commandments, and be holy, holy to your God.
These verses responsively. All this we hold to be true and sure. We have only one God, and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in God's love and exult in God's trust.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asked God.
The Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
We continue with Michamocha at the bottom of page 65. We continue in the middle of page 66 with Vishamru. Together at the top of the page. Grant, O God, that we may lie down in peace and that we may rise up again to life. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with wise counsel. Be as a shield about us, fortifying us against hatred and war, against pestilence and sorrow. Curb within us the inclination to do evil. Enfold us with the embrace of your love. Guide our going out and coming in to life and peace from this time forth and forever. We praise you, God, for you shelter us and all who dwell on earth. We continue with Hashkivenu.
Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom. V'hamidenu Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom. V'hamidenu
We turn to page 69 and let us rise for the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi hagita hilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, and my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagador, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vegonei Yaakov, Vezocher Chasdei Avot ve'imot, Umefik Yehulah libnei bneihem, Levan Shemo v'Yahava, Melech Uzer u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah.
Let us be seated and let us join together on page 70. Infinite is your power, O God. Great is your gift of life. In loving kindness, you sustain the world. Through the endless flow of your blessings, you preserve all of creation. You uphold the falling and heal the sick. Free the captive and keep faith with your people in death as in life. Who is like you, author of life and death? We praise you, God, the source of eternal life. On page 71, source of all knowledge and wisdom, you have endowed us with reason and understanding. We pray for the light of your truth, for insight into your ways, and for the strength to banish from our hearts every unworthy desire. Forgive us for our transgressions and pardon our failings. May those who have lost their way come to know your love again, that they may turn to you with newness of heart. Together, our God and God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our worship on this Shabbat may be acceptable to you. Sanctify us through your precepts that we may share in the blessings of the Torah. Help us to be satisfied with the gifts of your goodness and grateful for all that you bestow. Purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. May we preserve Shabbat as our people's heritage from generation to generation, that it will ever bring rest and joy, peace and comfort to our hearts. We praise you, the eternal God, who sanctifies Shabbat. We continue on page 72. Creator of all the world, you have blessed us with noble powers. Teach us to make wise use of them. You have called us to be your partners in the never-ending work of creation. We thank you for the capacity to choose the path devoted to your service and dedicated to the well-being of those around us. Together, may all people find their way and help establish peace in our world. Let them cultivate that goodwill which may bring enduring peace. Let all nations realize that the triumphs of war turn to ashes, that justice and right are better than conquest and aggression. May they come to see that it is not by might and not by power, but by your Spirit that light prevails. Bless our land with plenty and our nation with peace. May righteousness abide with us and virtue bring us happiness. Blessed is our eternal God who hearkens to prayer. We continue in the middle of page 73 with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Ki ata hu melech Adon, lechol hashalom.
Let us continue in some moments of private reflection. Friends, let's turn back in our Sidurim to page 10. Let me begin at the top of the page. Prayer invites God's presence to lift our spirits. It allows the blessing and gift of hope to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Together we pray for all people who are at this hour are in sickness, in want, or in distress of body or spirit. We name in our hearts those who are near to us, in whose pain we feel pain. Let them know your help and feel your presence, realizing that they are not alone. Friends, if you'd like to share a name of someone that you are thinking of this evening, I'd ask you to do so. We can start over here and work our way over. Yes.
My dad, Londy.
Okay. Okay. One.
Laura Johnson and Scott Holland.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's continue with Misha Berach.
Mishaverach avoteinu mekor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema.
Friend, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. It's nice seeing everyone here. I just realized, is this the darkest Shabbat of the year? So tomorrow's the winter solstice, right? So next week it's going to start getting lighter. I like when Shabbat is really early. That means Shabbat is ending very early. Okay, so it's much easier to be a Jew in the winter than it is in the summer. In fact, I was once in Stockholm, Sweden in the summer. If you can believe this, looking for a job. Okay, but that's part of my memoirs.
Hear this story.
No, it's really good. But anyway, so Shabbat is never over. So even the most religious people, they give up. No, they don't violate Shabbat, but if, for example, if they have theater tickets, they're going to go. They can't because Shabbat isn't, it never really gets dark. I mean, it's so bizarre. Anyway, I would not have been suitable for to be the chief rabbi of Stockholm, but that was my fantasy at the moment, but I've had a lot of rabbinic fantasies. In any case, so the term Jewish identity does not sit well with me. We say we want our children to have a strong Jewish identity, but what does that really mean? Identity is about association. We feel a relationship to something. A person has a connection to being Jewish. People will use certain markers to indicate that relationship. For example, and I looked at the Jewish population study of 2020, they gave certain examples. People remember the Holocaust, or they care about Israel, or they like Jewish humor, or they feel close to their family, or they eat Chinese food on Christmas. That was one of the categories of feeling Jewish, okay? Now, these aren't bad things, but they're rather thin. They're light in content. They don't require much effort or sacrifice. They are freely entered and yet easily ignored. And do they really make any difference in perpetuating Judaism? Now, many progressive Jews, and I include myself in this category, will say, well, I can make choices about what I do and don't do. This is how it sounds when it comes to the variety of Jewish things. It's up to me. I'll come to synagogue, I won't come. I'll have a Seder, I won't have a Seder. I'll light Hanukkah candles, I won't light Hanukkah candles. I'll hear the blowing of the shofar, I won't hear the blowing of the shofar. It's all about my choice. And that fits into our modern progressive understanding of what freedom is. Autonomy. The desire that each of us shapes our own sense of identity. You choose one way, I'll choose another way. And in this process, I'll form my own unique Jewish identity. And this feels good because we don't like religious coercion or guilt. But here is my unease. And it's an unease, and I've been struggling with it for a lot of different reasons. Judaism can't just be about association, feeling connected. It certainly must involve obligation, deed, something we're required to do. It's so obvious, but it's not so obvious when we become a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. And I'm not talking about the ceremony. The ceremony is really not relevant. When you come to a certain age in Judaism, if you're a man, 13 or in a day, if you're a woman, 12 in a day, it's the coming of age. It's a celebration of mitzvah, the belief that an adult Jew is obligated to do something, to live a Jewish life, filled with obligation and responsibilities. What are we obligated to do? Are there things that we must do? Are there things that we are forbidden to do? Are there things that we all agree a Jew must do? Okay, I have found one mitzvah that unites all Jews of all religious flavors. And you'll never guess what it is. And this is not a joke. There's no joke punchline here. What is the one thing that all Jews are obligated to do? God, you come up with something. Yes. But some people would say, well, I don't really have to do it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no. It's a good answer. What'd you say? Keeps the Sabbath. Well, that doesn't seem to be working very well. Circumcision, that's certainly not working very well. Yes? What? Tom Barnett? What'd you say? Go to Sunday school? Okay, go to Lisa. Okay, that's not working very well. Only 34% of Kansas City Jewish kids go to Sunday school. Okay, you know what? if you take all streams of Judaism, everything, there's one thing that we are obligated to do. We're obligated to be vaccinated. Now, and I have done a lot of research on this. And in fact, I will send you a copy of a lot of the material that I have used this evening is from the Journal of Religion and Health, 2023, so it's after the pandemic, and the article is, and I knew most of these sources, but they put it together so beautifully, it made it a lot easier for me to make my presentation this evening. It's called Religious Doctrine and Attitudes Towards Vaccination in Jewish Law. And it's written by Nicole Muravsky and Grace Betesh, who are teachers in the Yeshiva of Flatbush, Yoel Braverman High School. Yeshiva Flatbush is the Harvard of yeshivot. Okay, I went to school when I went to Cornell with a lot of graduates of Yeshiva Flatbush. They were unbelievably brilliant people. And a Rosalina McCoy, who is a professor at the Mayo Clinic. So these are serious people. Okay. We are in the middle of this crazy discussion in this country about vaccines, especially polio vaccine. Some people conclude that it should be optional. Some people even want the vaccine to be pulled off the market. And this is not a sermon about Robert Kennedy Jr. and his opinions. I don't take his opinions very seriously at all. It's an eternal Jewish question, a serious one. What does Judaism require of us? How should we govern our personal actions? And as I said, I've been doing some research, so this is what I will share with you. Let's start, and these are broad categories. And let me just put a footnote. There is a very small group of people in Rockland County and Muncie who for some reason refuse to do this. And the fact of the matter is that in the sewer system, the polio virus is going up, and there are cases in Rockland County, in Rockland County in New York. But they are such outliers, they prove the point by how marginal they are. So here, let's go point by point. And I think it's really important that we know this. Let's take the Orthodox world. The primary tenet in Jewish tradition in the Orthodox world is this concept, you've heard it before, called pikuach nefesh, which dictates that the preservation of human life takes precedent over all other religious doctrines and obligations. Rabbinic deliberation on the acceptance of vaccines dates back to the 18th century, when Rabbi Avraham ben Shlomo Nashik urged others to allow inoculation against smallpox after his children died of the disease. While the Torah authorizes physicians to heal the sick, it was not immediately apparent whether it also allowed them to sicken the healthy with an inoculation to prevent future disease. In other words, we know that most vaccines, you're getting a little bit of the disease. In other words, you get a polio vaccine, it swells up. It's overwhelmingly a mild rash, but you're getting a little bit of the disease. So the idea is, can you really give yourself a disease? However, 3 prominent 18th century rabbis all argued in favor of the vaccine because the ultimate benefit was deemed to outweigh the risks. In 2018, the Orthodox Union, so it's our version, it's the Orthodox version of the Union of Reform Judaism. In a Rabbinic Council of America, our version would be the Central Conference of American Rabbis, issued an unequivocal statement strongly urging vaccination. In their statement, they note that the Jewish legal obligations to care for one's own health, as well as to take measures to prevent harm and illness to others, and reiterate the broad consensus of many legal scholars in support of the vaccination of children to protect them from disease, to eradicate illness from the larger community through so-called herd immunity, and thus to protect others who may be vulnerable. In other words, the more people are vaccinated, we're protected against those who aren't vaccinating, okay? Chabad, and this is really interesting, I can't get into it. It's fascinating how Menachem Schneerson, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, spoke very frequently about a pro-vaccination position. He was a brilliant man who went to the Sorbonne and studied electrical engineering. He had a scientific mind. Haredi religious doctrine, that means the ultra-Orthodox, support vaccination. Rabbi Asher Weiss, a Haredi Jewish advisor in the Jerusalem Shaare Tzedek Hospital, notes that each Jew has a halachic or Jewish religious obligation to vaccinate. Okay? I think I proved my point in the Orthodox world. Let me move on. The conservative Jewish world, where I started my rabbinical career. The Rabbinical Assembly, the international organization of conservative rabbis, issued a resolution on immunization in March 2020, stressing the strong and consistent support for immunization since 1796 introduction of the smallpox vaccine on the basis of the Kol liturgical and halachic principles. Specifically, this is what the Rabbinical Assembly notes. Timely vaccination to be a basic and necessary requirement of appropriate pediatric care, and hence a requirement that aligns with pikuach nefesh, the saving of a life, as a primary obligation of Jewish law and tradition. And then it goes on to say, because infectious childhood diseases and their carriers pose a life-threatening hazard that endangers many people beyond the affected person, and vaccinations has the potential to remove this risk and no substantial harm to the vaccinated individual, it should be required without exemption. And let me make one final point when it comes to the conservative movement in 2020, and this is very relevant to our time. And I quote, the self-stigmatizing scandal of immunological recalcitrance and contagion among Jews is inconsistent with our founding covenantal mission, be a blessing and an object of blessing to all the families of the earth. In other words, refusing vaccination and endangering those around you would be inconsistent with core Jewish identity and place within humanity. And then it goes on to say that when it comes to Jewish schools from K through 12, failure to immunize children against vaccine-preventable disease is a serious compound violation of Jewish law, and there's no basis in Jewish law to support a parent's request for a religious exemption from state-mandated immunization. Okay, conservative movement. I'm enjoying this, so I'm going to do one more. Okay, the reform movement, where we are. In their resolution on mandatory immunization laws, the Union of Reform Judaism similarly advocates in favor of mandatory vaccination based on the principles of pikuach nefesh, the saving of the life, and then there's a new principle I'm going to share with you, which is called refuah b'duka. And so that tenet meant that you're mandated to accept a proven health therapy. Explicitly treats vaccinations as a proven medical necessity that should not be refused unless the vaccination poses a specific medical harm to an individual. In other words, if we know that a medicine is safe, a vaccine is safe, you're obligated to get it. It's seen as a standard procedure. If someone says, well, I want to put a pig's heart in you, well, that's not a standard procedure. But getting a polio vaccine is a standard procedure. They go further to note that religious exemptions to mandatory vaccinations must be suspended if community immunity is deemed at risk by public health officials. In other words, who cares about your autonomy? I'm so tired of people having autonomy. Autonomy is fine, but my autonomy can't put you guys at risk. We had this discussion when it came to the masking in the synagogue during COVID, and I have to tell you that conversation, I know, Martha, you and I were part of this. It was really frustrating, wasn't it? Whether you should wear a mask, whether this. Well, we have a responsibility to other people. Now, this isn't about politics or Robert Kennedy's uninformed opinions. And if you want an article, Vaccination as a Cause of Autism, Myths and Controversies, this very explicitly shows you everything that he believes is total nonsense. Okay, So it's about Judaism, health, the common good, scientific method, reason. So if you get a vaccine, this is the blessing you should say. And I'm willing to give it to anyone. And it was written by some Israeli, I think it's an Israeli midwife. That's what I think. It's a beautiful bracha, beautiful blessing. It says, God, who answers in times of distress and saves, healer of the broken hearts who bind their wounds, Psalm 147, who shares divine wisdom with flesh and blood, and has given us understanding, science, and discernment to create this vaccine. May it be your will that through the power of this human effort, aided by God, who graciously grants human knowledge and teaches mortals understanding, science, and discernment, that I merit health and resilience so that these verses may be fulfilled for us. I have removed illness from your midst, for I, the Eternal, am your healer. Let them praise the Eternal for God's steadfast love and wondrous deeds for humanity. Praised are you who brings healing to all flesh and does wonders. Now, what we Jews are obligated to do, we don't agree about much. But there is a mitzvah of vaccination. I mean, I know New Reform Temple, it's everyone making choices on their own. There's no choice. Not to do it is a sin. And there's no tshuva for that sin, because our failure to vaccinate could lead to our death or to the death of others. And there's no forgiveness for that. Shabbat shalom. Okay, so we're going to continue in our service on page 368, and we are going to rise.
Let us adore the ever-living God. We offer praise unto you. Spread out the heavens and establish the earth. Your glory is revealed in the heavens above, and your greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are God, there is none else. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומועלים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Let us be seated, and let us join together on page 369. May the time not be distant, O God, when you shall be worshipped throughout the earth, when unbelief shall disappear and error be no more. Fervently we pray that the day may come when all people shall be guided by your teachings. Corruption and evil shall give way to purity and goodness. Superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. Then all who dwell on earth shall know that to you alone every knee shall bend and every voice give praise. May all created in your image recognize that we are brothers and sisters, so that one in spirit and one in harmony be forever united before you. Then shall your reign be established on earth, and the word of your ancient prophet be fulfilled. The eternal God will reign forever and ever. On that day the eternal shall be one, and God's name shall be one.
ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
At this time, we recall the yurt sites that are part of the permanent memory of our community: Esther Burlau, Selma Block, Robert Bordeaux, Harry Gibson, Alexander Goldberger, Mary Nan Goldman, Robert Rosenwald, Clara Slatinsky, Harry Statland, Ida Statland, Sheila Ween, and Herbert Wolf. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith that links the generations of the house of Israel one to another, we ask all of us to please rise as we join together on page 375 for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach yirutei v'yamlich machutei, v'chayechon uvyamechon uv'chayedachol Beit Yisrael, v'galav izman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach li'olam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'pa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudusha barichu. Elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran v'yama v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, let peace descend on us and all Israel and all the world, and let us say, amen. Please be seated. We thank David and Sarah Rosler for dedicating the Shabbat flowers this evening. And we are going to be having our 5th annual menorah lighting. That's how old our Chanukiah is. It's having a tough time getting through every year. So the first candle lighting will be December 25th. In the evening and going through January 1st. All of these lightings will be at 5:30 p.m. And on next Friday, after our outdoor lighting, we will be having a Shabbat of Hanukkah celebration. We ask you to bring your menorahs from home and we'll light them together. And after services, we will have a very lovely Oneg Shabbat, which will include latkes. And the only thing we ask you is to go online and to sign up just because we want to know how much food we need. The next NRT Book Club will meet Sunday, January 5th at 3 p.m. at the New Reformed Temple in the Krasny Room. And we will be reading Michael Charbonne's The Yiddish Policeman's Union. And if you want more information about that, Martha Gershon, who leads that for us, is sitting right up front. And the JFS Food Pantry, if we're still accepting donations, just bring the food, and we'll get it to Jewish Family Services. Immediately following services, we'll join together in the foyer for our Kiddush and Motzi. Anything else? Am I able to just talk about your daughter for 1 second?
Of course.
Well, there is a video that I was sent of Everly, and it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. It is this 2-year-old sitting at the piano, okay, and obviously understanding the sounds of the keys, and singing, what's she singing? The Wheels on a Bus. But that's not what's interesting. She has in front of her this prayer book. And she's following, so as if.
Which page is Wheels on the Bus?
Yeah, where are those things? And what, this could be on, it's extraordinary on so many different levels. But it's the cutest thing that could ever happen. I mean, wouldn't you say? It's stellar. But she's sitting there people don't like the Union Prayer Book. She likes it. If Everly likes it, how can we be against it? I'm sorry if I violated some privacy, but I had to share that. It is too good to be true. It was so good. And she's really amazing. Okay, so we're ending our services with Lichilach, page 437.
Lechilach, to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechilach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechilach, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechilach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chaim, l'simchat chaim, l'simchat chaim, lechilach. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall